Okay, this is a 5-part series. I would title it How to Get Your Life Back, or How to Live Long Healthy. But it is the 5-part series of the core of real detox, and that's cellular detox. And many of you who follow me have heard me say, look, real detox has to be at the cellular level for it to really make any lasting difference. Listen, this is a 5-part series. If you didn't watch the video before, find it. It's here. And it is the first video, R number 1. If you don't remove the sources, then you aren't going to get your life back. I can tell you my own story. That was the case. When I found the source and went after it at the cellular level, I got my life back. So that is, in fact, the key. You know, I want to give you a tip, because this is an incentive why you need to share the videos. I talked about the 3 hidden causes of why people don't get their lives back, why they don't feel well. I talked about heavy metals, I talked about hidden molds and hidden infections. Well, there's one thing that has all 3 of those sources in it. Any guesses? Breast implants. Yeah, I've been to some amazing lectures now on doctors explanting breasts and how dangerous they're finding out these things are. I don't want to raise the big alarms here, but it may not be the reason why you got sick. It may be, but maybe not. But what we find is it is definitely something that will keep you from getting well. So the bottom line is that breast implants actually have heavy metals in them. Just Google your particular breast implant and look at the ingredients. You'll see arsenic, you'll see lead, you'll see mercury, cadmium, nickel, very toxic metals. Oh yeah, and they end up with having mold and hidden infections in them. So just some food for thought on last week's video. And I really think this is a growing problem, and it's a need to detox correctly. But okay, let's dig into R number 2. And again, if you didn't see the first video, I explained what I mean by these 5 R's. It is a roadmap on how you fix a cell and how you get your life back. But R number 2 is regenerating the cell membrane. So R number 1, remove the source. R2, regenerating the cell membrane. I can't even express to you how important this is, but I'm going to try my darndest, because, and look, I don't want you to feel like, okay, I have to relearn my biology. Not the point, but I want you to rethink some things. By the end of this video, I'm going to give you what you need, and you see some of the clues over here, to do in your diet, and even some supplements that will make a difference right away. And not only your cells actually getting rid of toxins and detoxing, but just in general, how your cells work, how your brain works. All right, you all have seen me draw a lot of cells. Circles. Okay, cell. Camera guy, can you see that good? I hope you can see that good. All right, great. Okay, every cell has a lipid bilayer. Do you know what that means? That means it has 2 layers of fat. Man, if I could just communicate to you how amazing those 2 layers of fat are, I'll just say this. Life literally begins and ends on the cell membrane. Literally, how good you feel is determined by the cell membrane. Not just, I mean, of course you have 50 trillion cells in your body. So not just this outer membrane, but in every cell you have these little areas called mitochondria. That's where you make ATP. And I don't think you can see that, but that says ATP. So every cell has mitochondria. Every cell has a nucleus, and that's where your DNA is. And these inner membranes are critical for how you feel, how well your hormones work, how you burn fat as energy. That means how well you stay lean. And I'll tell you this right now, it has more to do with toxins affecting and inflaming these membranes than even the foods that you eat. But there's some foods you can eat that actually help this problem. So stay tuned for that. But the point is that these membranes determine your health. Life begins and ends on the membrane. What I mean by ends, that there's literally one fat in your mitochondria that if your body, your innate intelligence, wants to kill a cell because it has bad DNA, maybe it's a cancer cell, maybe it's just acting up and needs to die, so you actually don't duplicate that cell, it'll send a signal to that one fat called cardiolipid. It's the king of all fats. And that fat is actually an omega-6 fat, which is not a fat that you hear a lot about. You hear a lot about omega-3, which is important. Fish oils, that's another subject for another day. Not a fan necessarily. I love fish oil when it's in fish, but not in bottles. But the omega-6 fat is really what determines the function of these membranes. And I'm going to give you some sources here to help with that. But the point is this one omega-6 called cardiolipin, which is the king of fats in the mitochondrial membrane. Your body will send a message and oxidize that fat, and instantly the cell will die, which in this case is actually a good thing if it's a bad cell. But the bottom line is that we need these membranes to function well. And by the way, all the intelligence, when I say about innate intelligence, that's inborn intelligence, how your body heals, repairs, all of it. That intelligence is actually in these membranes. So that's not my work. That's a gentleman named Bruce Lipton who wrote a book called Biology of Belief, who showed that the intelligence is in fact in the membranes. And by the way, every hormone receptor relies on these membranes. So you can take all the hormones that you want, but unless these hormones, and I'll just use thyroid hormone as an example, unless the hormone binds to one of these receptors in the membrane and gets its message into your DNA, into your cell, you don't feel well, you don't burn fat as energy, you can gain weight, you can eat the perfect diet and exercise and not lose weight. And eventually, yes, you'll start getting dry skin. You'll start having brain fog, possibly constipation, all because thyroid hormone wasn't able to get its message in the cell. And again, toxins can blunt these hormone receptors, and now you can't get the hormone message in the cell. So again, doesn't matter if you take more hormones if it doesn't get its message in the cell. All right, the bottom line is this for today. We have to repair these membranes, and if we don't, you don't feel well. Life begins and ends on the membranes. So I said that the omega-6 fats are very critical. Good source of it? Raw nuts and seeds. My favorite? Walnuts. Love it. What if I want to take an oil? Unfortunately, most of the omega-6 fats on the market, in the stores, are rancid. They're polyunsaturated fats. That's why I don't like fish oils, because they are as well. But what about these seed oils? Because nuts and seeds have a ton of a good omega-6. Well, I'm going to have you go search for this one, but it's called andreasseedoils.com. And you can buy sunflower oil that's not rancid. Matter of fact, when you open this, it smells like sunflower seeds. Amazing, actually. They have great pumpkin seed oil. They have one called 5-seed oil. Love it. Add these to your diets. Even a teaspoon of this a day can help transform your omegas. By the way, that omega-6 is what literally helps the function of your membranes and therefore your health. And here's the problem. Here's the oils you need to stay away from. Ready? Canola oil. You go in health food stores, it's in practically everything. Vegetable oils, in practically everything, even in health food stores, so you have to read ingredients. Sunflower, safflower oil, unless it says oleic, which is a more stable version, then not good. That's why we buy these cold pressed oils, and this source, the best I've found. So we want to eat nuts and seeds raw. We want to get the good oils from the right sources with the good omega-6, because most people today, I should say, not everyone, most people are getting bad sources of these. When you look at what's in food, it's vegetable oil, canola oils, and rancid fats. Go to restaurants, they use these oils because they have low smoke points, but they're rancid. They come into these membranes and they dislodge this vital omega-6 that you need for really good membranes. And when they dislodge it, they replace it with this rancid oil. Now your membranes don't function. Oh, and by the way, now your cell can't detox. It can't get the good things in that you need to feel good, and it can't get the toxins out. By the way, when these mitochondria make energy so you feel good, it makes toxins that you have to actually get rid of in order to feel well. So we have to have vital membranes for that to happen. So how do we do that, I guess, is the better question. Well, again, we want this good omega-6 in these membranes so they function. When you're eating those bad fats that I just mentioned and dislodging those good omega-6, that is a problem. Matter of fact, you know what studies show? That can last about 132 days on average. So when you get exposed with canola oil, vegetable oil, 132 days of cellular dysfunction. 132 days of the cell not detoxing, even the very toxins it makes endogenously when it makes energy. Not good. So we have to get these membranes right. All right, two other shocking fats that you need to add right away to your diet. And that is, here's why it's shocking. If I asked you the two most dangerous fats that you should avoid, according to media sources, you would say saturated fat and cholesterol. Am I right? Okay, just so happens, those are the two most stabilizing fats in the membrane that you need even to stabilize these hormone receptors so you feel good. These hormone receptors, if you will, they ride on what is called a lipid raft, a raft made of fat. But the two main fats in there are saturated fat and cholesterol. What are some great sources? One of my favorites right here, ghee. Ghee is a clarified butter. This one's a grass-fed ghee. You can buy it in all the health food stores. You can cook with it, add it to shakes. I eat it off the spoon. This is a short-chain fatty acid that even helps your liver detox. It helps your gut bacteria and even your cellular energy. Great stuff. Add it to your diet. Start right away. Here's another fat. And by the way, there's saturated fats and cholesterol in there. Here's another tip. Eat 100% grass-fed and grass-finished meat. Because guess what? When you're eating grain-fed meat, you're getting bad omega-6. It destabilizes the membrane. Here's another tip. Fresh pressed olive oil, first pressed harvest olive oil, very hard to get. You know why? The Italian families and the Spanish families and the French families, where you get it, they keep it for themselves. These fresh pressed, first pressed oils are extremely high in something called polyphenols. Now, olive oil is a monosaturated fat, which actually isn't an integral part of the membrane. However, these polyphenols are really important to downregulate inflammation of the membranes. The problem is the olive oils you're buying in the store, they're not high enough in polyphenols to make a difference. That's why you need the harvest pressed. It's hard to get. So I actually joined an olive oil club, and it's if you go to pompaoliveoil.com 4 times a year, and they get it from different parts of the world because you can't get fresh pressed olive oil the same time of the year, so it's different in Italy than it is in Chile. So you have to get it in 4 different, literally, hemispheres, 4 different locations in the world at different times. But the bottom line is, if you go there, we always have fresh pressed olive oil in the house with the high polyphenols. This particular one has a polyphenol count of over 400, and this company, I've seen them even over 500. But that polyphenol is able to downregulate that cellular inflammation. Okay, I said I was going to give you the dietary biohacks, or the dietary things you can do for each one of these R's. I just gave it to you. Now let me give you the supplement choice. Vista is a product, V-I-S-T-A. There's 2 products, Vista 1 and Vista 2. Vista 1 is in the perfect ratio, in the perfect fats that make up these inner membranes. And Vista 2 makes up these, helps regenerate these outer membranes. And that is our number 2, regenerating the cell membranes. So again, life begins and ends on the membrane. And we need to do everything we can for the health of our membranes. If you ever went out to dinner, some of you have, perhaps with my wife and I, and my children, we start asking about what oil they cook with, what oil they do. And let me give you one more tip. Oils to cook with. Oil, you can make a good fat like olive oil even bad. Even ghee can get too high a heat. I'll tell you the oils that take the heat and don't go rancid. My favorite is avocado oil, almond oil to cook with. And ghee is a good oil to cook with, and so is coconut oil. But almond oil and avocado oil actually take the heat better. Walnut oil is another one. So anyways, pay attention to your temperatures when you're using these good oils. When I use a good olive oil like this, I'll use it warm, maybe sauteed, no smoke in a pan, but I like to just pour it on foods even after I cook them. So the fats are the key. But look, the bottom line is, if you don't pay attention to the fats going in, and you don't pay attention to avoiding the bad fats. So when you go to restaurants with us, we're hammering them. What are you using to cook in? And here's the key I want to give you. Here's the tip. Ready? You tell them you're allergic to vegetable and canola oil because that's what they're using. And another tip, This company actually makes a smaller bottle. Actually, this company has olive oils from everywhere, but they put the olive oil in smaller bottles so you can actually travel with them. And I do that. Matter of fact, I even use it on my skin, my wife and I both. So the bottom line is pay attention to your oils, especially when you go out to dinner. But the biohack, yeah, you can supplement some of these really cool supplements. And there's another one that I love called Pure Form. But the bottom line is this: if you fix your membranes, you fix your hormones. If you fix your membranes, you actually start fixing the detox pathway in your cells. If you fix your membranes, you fix how you feel. Step one. All right, next video is R number 3. And I'm going to play back into the membranes, because you can't fix R number 3, which is restoring your cellular energy, until you fix your membranes. Because the number one thing you have to do to fix your energy in the cell is actually fix your membranes. But I'm going to hit on that more next week. And as always, I'm going to give you dietary tips. And wait to hear this one. Very, very interesting biohack. And I'm going to show you a study to prove it, that you can do to immediately make a difference in your cellular energy. I'm going to give you the dietary tips as well. And I'm also going to give you some different biohacks that you may not think about, that you can add right away, that I do every day for my cellular energy. All right, I'll see you on the next video.